Because there's no context.
So who cares?
Okay.
It's a cold open.
Well,
There's no context.
Now this is the cold
There's
open.
no context to Kevin carrying a big pan of chili into the office and spilling it all over the floor, but it's a great and terrifying cold open on the office.
There are not many things in that show that make me like want to stop watching, like turn it off, like because I'm cringing so hard.
Yeah.
But that is just awful.
That is second only to Scott's Tots as far as me being uncomfortable on that show.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, literally...
that's true. Yeah.
That's true. When that
forgot
first
about
happened, I wanted to cry for Kevin. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Well, it's because it's not just him spilling the chili, but it's him saying, like, describing how amazing it is.
And how much effort
he put into it while he's spilling it.
He's trying to scoop it up with, like, a clipboard. The thing is, if you think about it, he kind of has those. It's that one, and then remember the turtle one where he accidentally ran over the turtle and broke its shell. So he tried to like tape it all back together.
Oh gosh!
And at the end of the story, it turns out the turtle's been dead the whole time. Like Kevin, you like feel genuinely bad for this guy.
Yeah.
So I was at work and we had this person coming in that, I'm not trying to get too detailed in what I do for a living, but this person was there to be helped, right? They're not one of our actual customers, but we sometimes help extended customers, like customers of one of our customers. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So a person comes and they walk in the door and they don't speak a lick of English, not a single syllable of English word. Okay. And that's fine. I've worked around it many a time.
Sure.
But they like walk in our door and they have these pieces of paper and the paper is completely in Chinese. And it's like a check-in thing. And I'm like, oh God, like there's nothing on this that looks like it's English at all. All I know that it's a picture of where I work. And I'm like, oh, so he's in the right spot. So luckily I have Google Translate on my phone.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be my first.
Yeah. So I pull it out and I'm literally going over his entire page, like reading to see who he like.
Did it work well?
Well, yeah, very well, actually.
Cool.
But I was actually able to kind of see that he was in the right spot. He just didn't do everything he was supposed to. And at first I was like, hey, look how awesome technology is. Look what I can do to help this person.
Yeah.
55 minutes later, I was less excited about being there. I was supposed to have left. I'm now sitting at my desk. These people won't leave because they're at my desk and I can't tell them in their language to get out. But I'm like, okay, you need to go sit over there and finish your thing and then you can go. And what I realized, and what the point of this story is as I'm talking to them, I know they don't speak English. I've actually had half this conversation with them through Google Translate where I say something and then it reads it to them in Chinese, like out loud. Towards the end of it, as I'm getting frustrated, I realize that I'm still trying to speak to them in English, even though I know they don't speak English, and I'm talking louder. Why the fuck, when someone doesn't understand you, do you speak louder? I need you to go over there because that's where it is. And he's like looking at me like, what?
There was a clip of who's the sheriff that Trump pardoned?
Fuck, I don't remember his name.
The guy, is it Shapiro? No,
Shapiro
is someone else.
Yeah,
it doesn't very matter. Similar.
His name is
anyway, he was talking to these. I think they were from China. Yeah, because the translator was speaking Mandarin, and he was like, it's the same thing. He was like speaking really loud and slowly with like broken English as if that would help somehow.
Yeah. I need you go there. It's like when you speak to a deaf person and as you're trying to you're mouthing the words for them.
Yeah.
And you're trying really hard because you're trying and you're like, I'm going to do this for you.
Yeah, your intentions are good.
But you're speaking loud and I know, I've seen it in a deaf person's eyes before. They were like, you're talking louder, aren't
you?
And
I'm sure idiots. I'm not going to speak for lip reading deaf people, but I'm sure that lip readers can read lips fine. You don't have to do your
I bet they probably
talk
walk
really
out
big and
they walk out going, that person's fucking stupid.
Yeah, you're
I'm
the
deaf,
one
but you're stupid.
You're the one who looks like an idiot. Welcome to episode 27 of the Unreasonably Angry podcast. My name is Gary.
My name is Eric.
And how are you fuckers doing this week?
I don't know why we did that.
It's October. It's Halloween. Halloween month. It's fall. It's getting cold. It's getting windy. It's getting rainy.
So people aren't going to have to listen to us bitch about it being hot in here anymore.
Goodbye, sun.
Well,
it's been nice knowing you.
Yeah, I think November 5th up here is not up here, but November 5th is daylight savings. So up here that means like 3 p.m. sundown.
Well, when you live north of 90% of Canada's population, you get less sunshine.
Yeah, and the thing is we complained about it up here and like the Canadians are like, yeah, dumb shits. Why do you think we live in the south of Canada?
Yeah. But they still have like in the middle, they still have all that fucking snow to deal with, and we
well, it's
so.
like living in the Midwest, like living in Minnesota, like or fucking the Dakotas, where it's like negative 40 with wind chill, and you're like, man, it's cold here. Like, yeah, it's the Dakotas.
I would take cloudy days over coldy days.
Coldy days. There's a reason half the pilgrims just stopped midway through. They said, "Fuck that."
Yeah, fuck manifest destiny. I'm not going farther.
There's nothing that way good enough to make it worth this. So we're turning around. That's just because they didn't have self-driving vehicles.
Self-driving vehicles.
If they could have sat in their Tesla.
I heard in our typical fashion of plugging other podcasts, I heard a Radio Lab because I listen to NPR because I'm better than you.
Yeah, again.
They talked about automation and specifically cars and trucks, and they talked about a lot of things that I'd never thought about before. Yeah. Like trucks, like all truckers will be out of jobs. Like truck stops will close down, motels will close down, like gas stations, like everything, like because they'll be electric, I guess.
Yeah.
And I never thought about how like when you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, automation, like it's going to happen. We have self-driving cars. Some people are like wary of them, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like it's inevitable. But you don't really think about all of the repercussions of it, like all of the things that
there's a lot that goes into
happen.
Making. That's the thing is people want to get very like gas is bad, cars are bad, and it's like, yeah, they're I don't know.
I don't know if someone who talks like that is saying gas is
yeah,
bad.
no, probably not. Them electric cars are bad. That's probably better.
Yeah.
And I've alienated the entire South. So no, that's the thing is they look at it and they go, hey, cars are destructive to the environment. They are, and they are the ozone, etc. It's, gas is the reason for wars, etc. If people think that's the reason for wars, but anyway, but they don't realize how many people's livelihood is based on vehicles being what they are. I mean, if you look what happened to Detroit just by shutting down any of the car manufacturing plants, like hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people, were directly affected by those shutdowns.
Yeah.
So as great as it is to have self-driving cars, electric vehicles, less pollution, those kind of things, we're going to have to find a place to put all these people to work. Otherwise, I mean, doesn't that just directly affect?
Well, that's already been a problem.
Yeah.
Like we saw it in the recession.
Yeah.
That's like a taste of what's going to happen again.
Yeah.
When all these technologies get more advanced and cheaper and everything, like UPS and FedEx drivers, all like freight truckers, like people who operate cranes, just like everything is going to get like,
it's going to become a point
kind of
where
terrifying.
Like manual labor is no longer going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest with you, like, granted, I don't want to do manual labor again as a career. I've done it a little bit. I did enjoy it. But every once in a while, it's fun to like go out and do something manually. It's cool to go out and build something or dig a hole or, why am I digging holes? That's
I don't know.
Such a weird thing to bury you in, Gary.
Oh, I was gonna say to shit in. But
welcome to October.
That works too.
I don't know. To take his shit in.
Yeah, what's it called? A foxhole?
No, see, that's where the automation comes in for me. I am so pumped and
automated
ready to
toilets.
Oh, I want one of those Japanese toilets. Bro.
Those Japanese toilets.
It's crazy as this fucking sounds.
I think Joe Rogan was talking about those, right?
Who
was it? Yeah,
he was talking about how like they go up and go down.
Yeah.
Okay, so was
and then like
Jake
when you
Gyllenhaal.
walk in the room, they go up and they turn the light on, so you don't have to turn any other lights on.
Yeah,
it's it's a glowing bowl. Like, here, shit in me.
Yes,
like,
you know how awesome that is. And I think Jake Gyllenhaal
it should say that. It should say, "Here, shit in me."
Yeah, it's like those old is this Rocky Horror Picture Show? Feed me the plant.
Oh, it's
or Little Shop of
Horrors. Yeah,
shows how much I know. But But Jake Gyllenhaal was on Conan O'Brien, I think, and he was talking about the same thing. Like he gifts people like high-end toilets. Like he has a friend that like gave them.
Because it's a luxury. Like
It's
only
amazing.
rich people have experienced them.
Well, the thing is,
or
so-
Japanese people.
No. See, I'm neither of those things. I'm neither Japanese nor rich. But when we were in Hawaii for our honeymoon, which makes me sound rich, I'm not. When we were in Hawaii, we got upgraded to a nicer room, and when we got there, we realized we had one of those Japanese toilets.
Yeah.
So you walk in, and yeah, I don't remember if that one's lid went up, but it like rinsed out the bowl for you, so it was like fresh, and then you could heat the toilet seat. And
my
at
gosh.
first, my naive and simple mind was like, I don't want something squirting water in my butthole.
I was going to say, that's
By the
next
time I
step.
left, I don't want a toilet that doesn't squirt water in my butthole. Like I basically the entire like 4 or 5 days we were in Kauai, my asshole was the cleanest it's ever been, and now my life is ruined because I don't have a Japanese toilet.
It's one of those things that you like really want to say that you don't like that you
then
wouldn't
you
want that to
experience
happen
it?
to you, and
Yeah.
then it happens, and you're like, all right, yeah.
And you're like, I get it now. It's like everybody in France is like, yeah, see, fuckface, fucking Americans. Been rocking the
That's
days
the
for
first.
ever.
Oh my gosh.
No, so there's some things that automation's really good for, and there's some things that we're worried that's going to affect us negatively.
Yeah, the manual labor, I'm wondering like if there's anything that's going to stop that from happening. Like if there's any like if there are going to be companies that are too cheap to buy the machines and still pay people low wages.
No, or you may have it where there's literally mandates where it's like certain things have to be manual labor to provide people with jobs because
That's a good point. There might be legislature that says like stop taking jobs away.
well the
Like,
thing is on that, like without getting too political, like what's the overreach on that? Like to say we can't be more efficient because you know what I mean? Like if
Well,
we're
then-
more
yeah,
if
and
we're more efficient,
libertarians-
wouldn't we save money? Like if we were able to not have all these salaries to pay, couldn't we make the products cheaper?
yeah.
But then again, you're like, but where are people getting the money to buy the products? It's a fucking vicious cycle. But that's the thing is like from where we're sitting, like my job can't be automated. Your job could probably
Oh,
be
my
automated.
job isn't going to be automated. I work in printing and copying
Yeah.
right now at the moment. But
But somebody could probably
my
get a
job
robot
isn't going to
do
be
your job.
automated. It's going to be obsolete. There's a difference.
Paper. What the fuck is paper?
Yeah, no, like the training materials and stuff I printed, they're already starting to buy Kindles for some of them. So
Is
it's
that why
like,
you've started to go on that like lecture tour and you like tell people the importance of paper, like Michael Scott?
No. Get me a sheet of paper. Pam, I thought you brought a sheet of paper. No,
No, did you see that thing that got posted? So we were talking about cars automation, and lately I don't know if you saw the thing that Elon Musk talked about. I think Joe Rogan talked about in his podcast also. Those like tunnel things that they're building, like the underground tunnels where you like get these little trains and they go like super fucking fast. You just get in and it like shoots you to where you're going.
trying to remember what they're called. But yeah,
Tunnel shooters. I don't know. So that sounds bad.
shooters.
Shooters. And then the other day I saw that SpaceX thing. I think you commented on as well, where you can like this SpaceX is going to have it where you can get in these rockets and basically go anywhere in the world in less than an hour. Like you basically seriously, have you not watched the video? I thought you liked it. I thought you saw it too. On Facebook, SpaceX posted a thing, or Elon Musk posted a thing, and it was basically the SpaceX program, and they're getting it so that they're like, you can go there and you get onto a fucking rocket, basically, and most trips, like Singapore to wherever, or New York to London, it's like 30 minutes. And they're saying that if they do it, the only thing that's questionable is how they're going to afford fuel for that, because rocket fuel is ridiculously expensive. But if they're able to do that, if they were able to make it relatively affordable, like if it was like let's say a plane ticket from New York to London was $600, right? And it was $800 or $1,000 to fly in 30 minutes instead of 12 hours. Most people are probably going to pay that to avoid the 12 hours, right? Especially if it's for business reasons.
Yeah.
So does that slowly start to eat away at air travel? So now we have automated cars, so you're not going to want regular cars, because at some point are they going to mandate that you have to have an automatic car, because you can't have all these cars following along in a line and have one asshole swerving in and out of those, right?
Yeah.
So do we get to a point where we're like in iRobot or Minority Report, where we like sit in this thing and then we're all just kind of like, it's fucking weird, man.
There was a movie where like all the cars were automated in the future, but then they like pulled out one that wasn't, and they were like, yeah, this is the like classic non-automated car. that I get to
Demolition Man
drive
has
now.
that with Sylvester
yeah,
Stallone.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then iRobot with Will Smith has that where they're all like in those little things and you could turn on auto and they had like the tires that were like,
Oh yeah.
orbs.
Yeah. That was cool.
man, we're all over the place right now, but at the same point, I'm like, these are all things that are directly related to the exact same thing.
Speaking of all over the place, the tunnel company is called the Boring Company.
Okay.
For boring a hole.
Boring the hole, not boring you with information.
I think that's
That's
kind of
our
a
job.
joke. No, I think that's kind of the joke. Elon Musk has somewhat of a sense of humor, I suppose. But yeah, he's
have you seen
he's
his hair?
working with
It's
one
not real.
working with one under LA at the moment, and I think they've also tested one on the East Coast. So yeah,
And what's the info on it? How fast does it go? It's crazy fast. Isn't it like 300
like
miles an hour?
100. Oh, I thought it was only like 140, but
I mean, 140 is still fast, but I've done that.
look it up.
I've driven 140 in a car before. It was fucking terrifying, though.
That's it sounds like it.
Well, there's a section. I don't know. Is this admitting guilt? There's a section on the freeway when you're going from California to Utah, like through Nevada, where it's just like flat and nothing forever.
Sounds like it would be.
And we just like we were just like taking turns driving because it was a fucking 9 or 10 hour drive.
What car was it?
It was a friend of mine's Nissan Maxima.
Okay.
That was all right. But we literally like I got up to 140 and I remember going, okay, this is probably not a good
There
idea.
is a point, like I haven't gotten that fast, but I've gone over 100, and there's a point where it's like, I don't like going this fast.
Well, because at that point,
I don't
if
like
you
to think about
sneeze-
what can happen.
Yeah,
if
if you
something
sneezed right
happens.
then and you're like on the control,
Yeah.
you're done. That's
Yeah.
just game over.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
not
no.
worth it. But that's the point. Is like if they go that fast, and well, we're talking about that's the boring thing, but we're talking about just cars in general. But if you have all the cars in a line, like let's say that's 80% of the cars on the road are all going the same speed, and all because realistically, the reason that we have traffic is because you have that one dill hole who's not paying attention and slams on their brakes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever seen that animation. There's an animation that was online and it showed like traffic patterns.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it showed how one person cutting over, how far back that directly
Yeah.
affects.
If this is gonna sound stupid, but if you don't if you've never really thought about how traffic like comes about,
Yeah.
like what actually causes traffic, you should look up the Mythbusters episode where they did roundabouts versus stop signs, and then they showed how traffic comes about. And there's a bunch of videos on YouTube that shows you like what it is. And if you're aware of that, if you're aware that really just like one person brakes, but that it doesn't just stop there. If one person brakes hard and the person behind them does that, then it travels miles down a freeway
Yeah.
and causes a huge traffic jam just from one person braking. Then if you are aware of that, you can adjust it in your own driving. And
You
can,
hope.
Well, we talked about it in the what was it, the 4th episode of the podcast where we talked about driving.
That was pretty early on, yeah.
Yeah, I said something along the lines of people don't fucking realize that you do not have to have your foot on the brake or the gas at any one time. You can have it not on anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean put your foot to the side, but
Just
I mean
fucking
like
coast.
you don't have to be you don't have to be slamming on the brake and slamming on the gas at all times.
Yeah.
You can just coast.
That's what cruise control is for, though.
Coasting is what eliminates traffic.
Yeah.
If you're like I've done it before where I'm in the morning, I get tired of the person in front of me braking and me braking and knowing that everyone behind me is going to be braking.
Yeah.
Like, so I'll just like leave a little bit more space in front of me and then just keep coasting a little bit slower than the person in front of me, but I won't have to brake when they brake. And that means the person behind me doesn't have to brake.
But what you're also talking about there is the one thing that nobody follows anymore. There's supposed to be, I think it's like a car length for every 10 miles an hour you're going or something like that. Nobody fucking follows that shit.
No.
So if you're going 60 miles an hour, there should be at least 6 car lengths between you and them, right?
Yeah.
The thing is if there's 6 car lengths between you and them, the person behind you is like, fuck you. And they speed, they go around you to get in between you and them because that extra 30 feet that they traveled makes the difference in if they're going to be late to work or not. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at now. Like there's none of that. So that's why some people are totally on board with this automation because they're like, hey, if we can get it where these cars are basically self-driving, they can tell when they're close enough to someone or far enough behind someone who needs to speed up. I had to take my car in to get maintenance, and so while I was getting maintenance, I got the test drive. I got to borrow one of the new Subarus. It was a Legacy or it was an Impreza, and that Impreza actually had the gap thing on it, so it told you how far behind everybody you were. But one of the things I wasn't expecting was that when you're sitting at a stop sign or a red light and the car in front of you goes, if you don't start to go, it goes beep, 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 beep to let you know the car in front of you started going.
Oh.
Which is great, but that also means that that's how shitty we are as drivers now, that we're not even paying attention enough to know when someone in front of us is driving.
That's one of the things I was going to talk about, is that a lot of the pluses of automation are great. Like it's like we're going to not have traffic. We're not going to have fucking stoplights.
Yeah.
We're not going to have stop signs.
Yeah.
It's just going to all be whatever. But until we get to that point where it's like, well, just talking about cars, until we get to the point where cars are completely automated, everything before that is going to be drivers getting more and more lazy and more things. Like I would say it started with the backup camera. That was the first thing, like before cars actually started to do maneuvers for you.
Cruise control. You go with cruise control.
Well, yeah, but that's been along forever. But yeah, that's true. Cruise control.
I didn't have cruise control in a car until this car.
Really?
Yeah. I had a truck, didn't have cruise control. My Ford Focus that I had, surprisingly enough, didn't have cruise control. So when I was driving from like SoCal to NorCal, you had to keep your foot on the pedal the whole fucking time, and it was a manual. So
I like using them on hills on like
cruise control.
Yeah, because like if I don't want to deal with adjusting the gas going up a hill, then I'll just set it and it'll do it for me. It's probably more fuel efficient. I'm not positive.
I often forget, dude. I just forget that I have it sometimes. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Well, I drive so much. I have a long commute.
Well, so do I. But the thing is, yours is probably, well, for the most part, I think.
But you're in around more
go.
cars.
Such fucking bullshit.
Yeah. No, but I was going to say, like,
backup camera.
Until we get to that point, there's all these things that are making drivers lazier and lazier because more and more things are being done for them. Like teenagers like learning to drive now don't know how to parallel park, and like they don't know how to like back up properly.
Dude, I know grown-up adults that don't know how to fucking parallel park.
Yeah.
My buddy and I at work the other day, we watched a woman, I'm not kidding, try to parallel park for no less than 5 minutes. I was so mad.
There are videos online where it's like a half an hour.
I was so mad that I didn't pull my camera out and do like a time lapse because she must have been like a 32-point park where she just went, And I'm like, you need to pull back forward and
I don't
readjust,
understand.
start from scratch.
Isn't there a point in your mind where it's like if you're not achieving a goal, your mind just goes like, okay, do something different now.
Yeah, see, the thing is normally, and I know you're
the same thing because it's not working.
You're probably the same way that I am, where if I start to parallel park and after like 3 or 4 tries I don't get it, I get really mad and just say, fuck it.
I go find a stall.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to even... Yeah.
But somebody also posted a video this last week of they had a Ford Escape, I think, and it has the parallel park assist.
Yeah.
So like you pull up and it goes... like, this is a good spot. And then you put it in reverse and it takes over the wheel for you. You still have to push the brakes, but it backs in and you watch on the backup camera what's happening.
Yeah.
And he does it. He follows it perfectly and he gets out and his car is so fucking crooked and it's like sticking out in the street, but the car's like, you're good to go. And it's like, there's got to be a certain point where you have to take over responsibility, but maybe not to get too conspiracy theory here, but maybe that's the point. Maybe these little things are being introduced one at a time. Well, when they know the end game is we're going to get it so that people aren't driving. Let's give them backup camera. Let's give them self parallel park. Let's give them lane assist. Let's make it so your car slams on the brakes if you're too close. And then the last part really is just let's take the steering wheel out of their hands.
Well, here, what it boils down to is I personally, and this is like, I guess my personal opinion is I think that whenever automation comes, I'm not going to be one of those people who's like doesn't trust the car to do the right thing. Like I won't be like I'm going to trust that the algorithms were tested properly and they're going to work like 99.9% of the time. And cause like, obviously there'll be fail safes, but obviously there'll be problems. There's already been problems. And we won't get into that, but because I don't really know about them.
That's a pretty good reason.
In detail.
I'm not going to talk about that because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
There have been accidents and stuff.
No, of course. But okay, so this is where you and I differ a little bit. It makes me nervous. And I think I've actually had this conversation with Jeff. The part that actually makes me the most nervous is where's the line between my car being automated and me not being able to control my car?
Well, wait. So I'm going to get to that. But first I was going to say, like, what does worry me now, and what I'm really, I guess what we're really talking about is that the before we get to the full automation, when
Yeah.
it's a self-driving car,
Yeah.
when we have all these things like you said about like it braking for you and telling you when someone's in your blind spot or whatever, that all of that is still a computer talking to a driver. It's still a human to computer relationship.
Okay.
And they have to work symbiotically.
Okay.
And the issue is computers are built to not fail as much as possible.
Yeah.
And obviously drivers are too, but drivers are like
Stupid.
stupid,
Emotional.
angry, full of rage, full of like boredom, full of
Emotion.
tired. yeah.
Yeah.
And so they have many more flaws than computers do.
Yeah.
So when you have a driver interacting with a computer, there's a lot of room for error.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like an example would be if you have like one of those, like in Mercedes, you see the little flashing thing if someone's in your blind spot and you have your turn
It's not
signal
just
on.
Mercedes anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, you turn your turn signal on, it flashes. It's like, don't turn because there's someone there. If, let's say, the light bulb for that flash runs out, or like something stops working with the wiring, the car is still going to know that there's a car there, and it's going to warn you. But maybe it doesn't get the signal to you somehow. And the driver has gotten so used to
Being told.
that there's a car there that when they're not told, they're going to assume that there isn't one. And they're going to go, oh yeah, the computer's right. There's not one there.
Yeah.
And then they turn and get in an
So
accident.
there's two stories here that I have for that.
Okay.
One, everybody knows. It's the Michael Scott driving into the lake story. It told me there's a road there. This is like the Office episode.
Yeah.
The second story I have is actually a friend of ours. I won't name his name. He knows who he is. Came to visit and crashed,
Oh my God.
crashed
yeah.
his rental car. And he didn't crash it, but he fucking rear-ended something. I rear-ended a pole, I think.
I totally forgot about this.
And I go, what the fuck, dude? He goes, it didn't beep at me. Basically, because the car didn't warn him that there was something behind the car, he just assumed there was nothing behind the car and just kept going. And bing, knocked into the pole. And in my head, I'm like, dude, A, that could have been a person.
Yeah.
B, that could have been an animal. And C, the fact that you're like, that's where you're at now is I'm expecting something to tell me that there's something there. I'm not looking. I'm expecting the car to do it. My wife and I, Serena and I, we talk about this all the time, like with the backup camera. I try really hard still to this day to not use the backup camera full time because it takes away your ability to look around you. You're just assuming that sees everything.
Yeah.
The other side to it is what happens if you get in a car, now it's rare now, but what's happening if you get into a car that doesn't have a backup camera? You literally don't know what to do. You're like, where am I supposed to look? The fucking rear view, over your shoulder, dumb shit. Look in the side mirrors. But I've seen people.
Remember your driving test.
No, but the thing is, what do they do on driving tests anymore?
Did they actually use backup cameras?
I don't fucking know because
That's
when
a
I
good
was
question.
so when I was a kid, when I took my driver's test way back, fuck man, I'm old as shit now. I'm like thinking about how long ago it was. Fuck. Well, I took mine in a F-250 quad cab diesel. It was a big fucking truck.
Jeez.
It was stupid because it was way too big of a vehicle to be taking a test in. When I took my test, you had to know the hand signals. I don't know if that's still a thing. I don't know if you need to know stop, left, right, all that shit. Yeah, I had to do that.
That was only 10 years later, and I didn't do that.
I didn't have a rear view camera in mind. So like you had to know where your mirrors were, how to look. They had you back up, they had you go forward. This sadistic motherfucker that I did mine, this uppity fuckface, she goes, hey, your truck, this is pretty powerful and it's gonna be pretty easy for you to back up in a straight line. Because back in the day, you had to back up in a straight line, like along a curb for 200 feet or something like that.
Okay.
And she's like, well, it's gonna be too easy.
What does power have to do with it?
What does power have to do with what?
You said it's going to be pretty powerful, so it'll be easy to back up in a straight
Well,
line.
so the truck that large, like you literally just let go and it's just going to stay straight because it's just meant to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
And so she's like, I'm going to have you back up this hill that curves a little bit. So I had to literally back up a curve.
what the fuck?
Yeah. I was like, is this normal? I passed my test, but of course her one complaint was like, you didn't look over your shoulder enough. I'm like, what the fuck? But nowadays when kids take a test, they have backup cameras, they have lane assist, they have auto braking.
I
like,
would hope that they're not allowed to use that stuff.
Let
Or
me
at
ask you a
least,
question.
at least rely on
Let me
it.
ask you a question, Gary. In your experience of driving in the world right now, do you get the impression that people are taking the test without those things? How many times have you nearly died on the freeway from somebody going, "Nah."
Yeah.
Exactly. There's no more like, I don't feel like there's no prestige in having your driver's license. It's not you go got it and you're like, I earned this. Now it's just like, hey, you go get it. Go get your driver's license. You're 16.
And please don't kill anyone.
And that's the thing is I can't tell you how many times I hear of kids that are 16, 17 that already have speeding tickets, car accidents. And I'm not saying I didn't have issues when I was young too, but I didn't have a cell phone. You know what I mean? Like, and the cell phone I did have didn't play games. I didn't text.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that. I didn't have backup cameras. I didn't like have any of these things. I didn't have an iPod with my music coming out. You put a CD in and whatever was on the CD is what you listen to.
Yeah.
So there's so many fucking distractions right now. God, I'm like, actually, I sound like an old fucking man.
Well, no, we're bleh.
I remember when
we're on the cusp of it. Like
we're on the cusp of the world imploding.
We really
by
like
shooting
in 30 years we're gonna be like telling our children and grandchildren like, I remember when I drove cars before they drove themselves.
Yo, mine had pedals.
Yeah, right.
Grandpa,
I
you put
didn't just play computer games on the way to work.
What are keys, Grandpa? Keys were what you used to use to start the car.
Yeah.
And if you weren't
Before everything was in your phone.
actually back in the day, before if you didn't have your keys, you just grabbed a screwdriver. Nowadays, that's just not really doable. I literally remember as a kid, like these old trucks at my grandparents' house, and you could just pop a fucking screwdriver in there.
You know what's funny? You know what I just a thought I just had? Mechanics are gonna start hiring programmers.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have like Amazon people at fucking like
let me plug
dealerships.
your yeah. It's gonna be like it's not gonna be like going to mechanic. It's gonna be like going to IT.
Yeah.
Like taking your computer in Office Depot. Like
You're gonna think like now
can
back
you run a diagnostic on my car? I think it has malware.
you think like when you used to go to like a mechanic shop, it'd be like beer posters and like half naked chick calendars on the walls, and
Yeah,
now it's gonna be like portal posters,
Yeah.
posters of fucking video games
Oh
and
my
fucking
gosh.
anime and shit.
Um,
But no, we're eventually just gonna be down the road of we're gonna be in Wall-E. That's where we're at. Big fat slovenly people just
Yeah,
gonna get
that's-
ushered around.
that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Is we're getting lazy and we're getting comfortable. Like, let's take this to really superficial, stupid levels. Like
Okay.
we love to do.
We can do that.
Recently, when I don't know if you've seen this, but when someone asks me a question on Facebook Messenger, it's been coming up with like answers to the question,
Yep.
like automatically,
Yep.
and like little buttons that I could just press. Like someone will ask me like, "Do you know about this thing?" And then it'll say like, "I don't know, not sure."
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And all I do is click that instead of actually typing an answer.
Yep. I had one the other day where I was talking to Serena and she said something silly, or I was like, oh God. I said like, oh God, or damn it, or something like that. And then a little thing popped up, like a GIF emoji saying GIF SMH for like shaking my head. And it was like, do you want to send a shaking my head emoji or GIF? And then if I click
my
that, it brings up a bunch of shaking my head GIFs.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, what the fuck? You can't even
And
have like,
we're not just talking about like spell check, like
no.
like word the next
Yeah.
word. We're talking about like a complete
Predictive
answer
text, yeah.
to like, and it's like when do we get to the point? When do we get to the point? We're gonna get to the point where like you said you were going to a Facebook event
Yeah.
on Facebook, and then your phone knows that. It has it in its calendar. It's going to give you a reminder. It's going to say, is anyone else coming with you? And then like you're just going to click a few buttons and you're going to say like, oh, send a text to John, and then it's going to send a text to John automatically that you never even wrote, and it's going to say, are you also going to this thing? And then John's going to get that and is going to have a automatic reply. I don't know. And we're not fucking talking
No,
to
we're
each
not
other
having a
anymore.
conversation. Our phones
We're
are
not-
communicating,
We're
yeah.
literally not saying words to
You know,
each
and the
other.
thing that
We're
bothers-
just clicking buttons at each other.
The thing that bothers me really is now I don't know if my friend said something funny or if the phone said something funny for him. You know what I mean? You're like, I put a lot of effort into coming up with a witty response,
Like
and then
like you meet someone online and they say all these really funny things. You're like, wow, this guy's really funny. And then
Yeah.
you go have a drink with them and they're like really awkward and not
is this
like
on the Grinder app or?
not funny at all. Oh, well, I don't know. Okay.
No, to touch back on, I actually thought of something right when you said really annoying and automated and stupid and lazy. So
All of those
all
words
those
work
things
so well together.
They put all together and reminded me of this one thing. This is the epitome of stupid, lazy automation.
All right.
McDonald's, okay, is already like the and no, don't get me wrong, I eat McDonald's from time to time. I shouldn't ever, but I do. When I really want to hurt myself and hate myself the next morning. It used to be a place where you would go there and you'd sit there and the kids would play in the playground and you'd feel terrible about yourself and you'd be like, oh, I shouldn't have fed myself or my kids that. Then it was like, hey, we don't have playgrounds anymore because the ball pits are a disgusting cesspool where kids poop and pee or heroin addicts throw needles in them for God knows what reason. Then it was like, hey, let's go through the drive-thru. Hey kids, let's stop in the drive-thru. Let's get some chicken nuggets. Yay! Recently, it became you could do a mobile order for McDonald's. As if your time wasn't, if you didn't overvalue your time enough, you could pre-order on McDonald's and they have like 4 stalls that you can park in and they bring your food out to you. And I was like, that's the worst. I can't believe this is
That is Wall-E.
Yeah.
That literally is
hold on.
Wall-E.
It's worse. There's still one more step.
Okay.
Right after about that time when I saw that, and I was like, holy shit, who's lazy enough that they can't just go through the drive-thru takes maybe, 5 to 10 minutes? It's an experience. Just go through the fucking
Not
drive-thru.
even.
If anything, it makes you slow down for a second. Recently, Uber Eats paired up with McDonald's. And now you can order a Big Mac and have it delivered to your fucking house. I'm so sorry, and this is the stupidest reason to get mad, but if you're fucking so lazy that you can't even go pick up McDonald's,
It's not a stupid reason to get mad.
what the
It's a
fuck? If
perfectly
you're gonna get a
reasonable
burger
reason.
delivered to your house, can you at least get a proper burger? I mean, for fuck's sake, I know that's the fat kid argument in me, but you can't even go climb your fat ass into your car and drive. I mean, how far could you possibly have to go for there to be a McDonald's? If Uber Eats is delivering to you, it's got to be within 5 miles, right? I mean, realistically,
Yeah.
take your fat ass, put your car in drive, put your foot on the pedal, go sit in the goddamn
Wait,
drive-thru.
no. Get in your car, let it drive you to McDonald's,
Fuck
have
you.
your phone automatically order your favorite order.
And go sit in the fucking pre-order mobile line and get mad that it wasn't fast enough.
I ordered this 7 minutes ago. I've been sitting in here for 4 of them.
Yeah, Starbucks has that where you can order beforehand. And I always
But you still got to go get it in the store, though. I appreciate that.
you do.
You have to
But
walk
you
in.
you literally pick it up and leave.
But you
Like,
still have to walk in.
Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
that's at least something.
Yeah.
My voice raised like an
But
octave
the
or two
problem
there.
is when companies set a precedent, they just keep going farther with it.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to stop.
There's
They're
no
just
limit.
going to make it more and more convenient,
Yeah.
which is really just a word for lazy.
Yeah.
Like,
And the thing is we're at a point now where if you think about it, like this, all these things that we're doing, it's funny because you see all these things that are incredibly lazy, and then you hear everybody complaining about everybody being lazy. Like you see parents bitching about their kids on Facebook or Twitter about how lazy their kids are, and it's like they're looking up to you. If you get up in the morning and the first thing you do is mobile order your Starbucks and you don't make yourself coffee, you don't make your kids food, and then for lunch you guys go through the drive-thru or you Uber Eats your McDonald's, where's that kid learning that you need to go do anything? You know, like one of the things that bothers me more than anything else as a parent is watching other people's kids that like are scared to talk to people. Now, I understand don't talk to strangers, but like have you ever seen it where like, and not even just kids, but adults, like teenagers, adults, they can't go ask for something or they can't like,
yeah.
if your order's wrong, you know, there's people that are like afraid to say anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything. Why? Like you're paying for this item because they're raised not to ever say anything. They don't know how to speak for themselves. And you're like, hey, can you know as well as I do, this is all over the place. I'm aware. But you ever been hanging out with a group of friends and you're like, hey, let's get some pizza. And like nobody wants to be the one to call it in
Yeah.
because they don't have a conversation. They don't know how.
Well,
They're like,
no, they don't have the Domino's app downloaded, and they don't want to use their data.
But fucking do it. Talk to people. Teach your kids how to walk up and order food.
Yeah.
Like it's so fucking weird and so stupid. I know it's minuscule, but it's basic social interaction. It's basic.
It's definitely true. And we talked about remember last week we talked about how I like to because I'm better than you. I like to get up and grind my coffee beans with a
I didn't
manual
think- oh, you
with a
do the
manual
manual?
grinder and like and use a French press, and
Yeah.
it takes like 20 minutes for me to make coffee.
Yeah.
But it makes me enjoy the like I'm waking up and I enjoy the process.
Yeah.
And I like doing that.
Yeah.
Like cooking is a good example of that. When you cook for yourself, you're doing like all this work and it makes the food taste better.
Yeah.
You know, like cuz you put the effort into it.
Sure.
And I'm just thinking as we're talking about all of this stuff, like in the future it's going to be like a luxury to do things for yourself.
Well, that's
Like,
the fucked up
rather
thing.
than
You're
having
gonna
them
be
done
you're gonna be
for
like a
you.
hipster.
Yeah.
But hold on, you poured your own cup of milk, bro?
Cuz there's
Like,
already
you did that yourself, man? Like,
Right.
you're fucking hipster, bro. Like You're so cool. You poured it out of your own jug.
Yeah. Well, it's like there's already been examples of that with stuff that like our parents used to do
Yeah.
and we don't do anymore. And it's been happening steadily since what, like the 1950s when dishwashers were invented or something.
Yeah.
Like that's
Well,
basically
that's
it's
another
like,
thing, kind of like cruise control. I didn't have a dishwasher for most of my life. I just didn't have one, or I
Yeah.
didn't use one.
Yeah.
It took me marrying Serena, and realistically, really, us having our first kid for me to start steadily using it. So I've only really been using a dishwasher extensively for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in a house where you had to wash your own dishes. So like when you were done with dinner, like it was somebody's job to wash dishes, and you'd wash them, and then you either put them in a drying rack or you dry them yourself and you'd put them away.
Yeah.
And that way dishes are always available. Dishes are always dry and clean. You're
Yeah.
not, because like now it's like we have 2 kids, so there's tons of dishes happening. But the thing is, I still to this day get really upset when I'm like, why is there no fucking dishes clean? Why aren't there any clean? Why didn't we just wash that? You know, we put it in the dishwasher to run later, and then 3 days go by, and there's not enough dishes in the dishwasher to run the dishwasher. And like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here?
'Cause I don't want to waste water.
Right?
Yeah.
So like,
Exactly.
God damn it. So now I'm like, it's funny because I still fight with it a lot where I go, no, I need to fucking like hand wash this.
Yeah.
So if it's something where I eat, it's like breakfast food, for example, if it's just like a little bit of crumbs and some ketchup, like I'll fucking hand wash that and I'll dry it.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. Like I enjoy looking at the rack and going, I just did all that. The sink is empty. And if anybody needs to come in here and eat, they can do that.
Yeah.
It's such a stupid small pleasure.
But we're going to lose it. It's slowly being, I don't want to say being taken away from us, but
We're giving it away.
We're giving,
We're
yes,
voluntarily
we're
giving it away
it,
because
yes.
we've gotten ourselves
We're
so
giving it
convinced
away.
that every minute of our time is super valuable that
That's the fucking stupid part.
Yeah.
Like, how fucking important do we think we are?
we think
that
we're-
we
oh
can't
my
take
God.
time out of our day to do this shit.
Well, not only that, if you actually, if people really were honest with themselves and sat down and they really, if you really mapped out minute for minute what you did during the day, don't fucking tell me you can't find probably between an hour and 2 hours every day that you could have done something differently.
Yeah.
I mean, like for me, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here because I know I do it myself.
Yeah.
Were there minutes during my workday that I could have been working on a specific task better? Probably.
Yeah.
Do I get distracted in chit chat sometimes? Probably.
Yeah.
Do I spend too much time looking at sports? Probably. Do my poops go from 5 minutes to 10 minutes because I got hooked on a Reddit subreddit?
Yeah.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yep.
But if we take the time to go, okay, let me see how many things I'm doing that are not completely necessary, and I'm okay with myself looking at myself and going, all right, I'm kind of full of shit.
Yeah.
Like, I understand if you have 4 kids and you work 40 hours a week, yeah, you're pressed to the fucking limit of the ability of time you have to do anything.
Right.
But even right now, we have 2 kids. It takes up most of our day. But if my wife and I are really, really honest with ourselves, could we have been more efficient? Probably. But we love this like air of self-importance, and we love this like, oh my God, I'm so busy. I don't have time for that. It's like weird because I just saw you post 9 things on Facebook, or I literally saw you spending half an hour hanging out with people at Starbucks chit-chatting.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 thoughts. One funny, one serious. I'll start with the funny. I'll start with the funny. If you're gonna use all this automated stuff,
Yeah.
and you're gonna save all of this time during your day,
Yeah.
please use that extra time to solve world hunger and end climate change. That would be great. I mean, if we did that,
Dude, there's no such thing as
then
climate change.
there'd be no. Oh, right. Then the world would be a better place. The serious answer is, if we like continue to save all this time, our days keep getting longer because we're cramming more stuff into it.
Yeah.
People and we're seeing this with, especially in Seattle with companies like Amazon and Microsoft, and you'll companies will go, oh, we can start scheduling 10 or 12-hour shifts because people have more time in their day because they're not wasting it with other things like driving themselves
Yeah.
or like, you know, and like if we're saving all this time, what does that mean? We're just gonna work more? Like people are gonna work in their cars on the way to work, and do they get paid for that work?
I don't
Like,
know. You know,
how is that gonna
can I tell you
work?
that's one of the few things that like actually like I'm not a political protesty person, but the one thing in my regular life that I think I would love is to see things switch to a 4-day work week. I would gladly work 4
This is a whole other episode.
Yeah, we may have to come back to this another time.
Yeah.
I would gladly work a 4-10 week or
Yeah.
a 4-12 week. I'd work more hours if you
Yes.
gave me 3 days off.
Yes.
And it's not a matter of, oh, I don't have enough time for myself. Because again, like I do it myself. I know there's times where I go, oh, I'm super busy. And I look at my day and I go, yeah, I probably could have not done that. I probably could have not sat there and looked at this. I probably could have taken more time to do something productive instead of that. It's kind of like when we go, oh, why are we so fat? It's like, well, did you have time to go to the, I don't have time to go to the gym. Bullshit.
Yeah.
I played Destiny for an hour last night. I probably could have not played Destiny, ran my fucking ass to the gym, and been better for it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I think on a regular basis that I look at and I go, fuck, man, if your mom did the math and she wrote down a thing and she told me about it yesterday, how she like wrote down how much driving you do every month. It's like 40 hours, right?
Yeah.
And then I looked at mine and I go, okay, you do about an hour and 15 each way to work. I do anywhere from 45 to an hour most times each way. So I think mine worked out to like 36 hours a month. If you actually think about how much fucking time 36 hours is, right? You're like, that's a shit ton of time. And then you break down,
A whole other work week.
it's a whole work week. So basically you're working a 5-week.
And I'm
work
not getting
month.
fucking paid for it.
Neither am I. I'm salary. So it doesn't make a difference how many hours I'm spending.
Yeah.
But if you also look at that and you go, okay, on a given day, if our work day, I don't want to get too far because you're right. This is a longer topic.
It's a whole other.
But if you have an 8-hour workday, it was realistically a 9-hour workday because most places make you take an hour lunch or at least a 30-minute lunch, right?
Yeah.
Then you add that hour on each end. Basically, you've spent anywhere from 11 to 12 hours just doing work. If you're lucky to get 7 hours of sleep, that's 19. You have 5 left hours of the day, right? Right now, you're a single guy. So you're taking those 5 hours and you go, okay, some of that's going to be eating, some of it's going to be showering, some of it's going to be pooping. I get probably 2 hours a day to do whatever I want. Now take that and go add a kid to it. Okay, so it breaks down to maybe 1 hour to yourself a day, if you're lucky. And I'm not complaining because I have kids and I wish I had more time with them. But I go, okay, what if we made it so that the days were longer, but then we had 3 full days to ourselves? Because on those 2 days, with you're lucky right now, your office doesn't really bother you at home. They're not going to call you about a printing emergency on a Saturday. No. My job will. I get emails on the weekend. And a lot of people, that's just part of their normal life. But you know what? We should stop right here on this. This is a topic I'd like to come back to. But realistically, that's the one thing that I look at and go, okay, I gladly traded a little automation, traded a little bit of my time for more free time.
Yeah.
Me time.
But what my
time.
point was that, like, it's great that if we open ourselves up to more time.
Yeah.
But I think as, like, from what I've seen of my peers, and I always say this, like my generation, blah blah blah, but I think we need to use our time better.
Oh, of course we do.
Like,
well, no, I mean,
we need to be more productive in general, like as people.
Absolutely.
And I'm talking like mostly for myself, but I've seen like people I know the same way. Like they get all this extra time like opened up from other things being easier.
Yeah.
Like adult life in general is a lot easier than it used to be.
Yeah.
So like we don't have to worry about a lot of the things that our parents did.
Yeah.
And so we generally have more time, especially if we're single and don't have kids yet. So we just need to figure out how to be productive people and how to work on ourselves and how to work on. I know this is another huge conversation.
No,
but I feel like that's the end goal of automation is if we're opening up all this time as a society and as for our personal lives, we need to use it well.
Sure. Couldn't agree more.
Yep. For listening to episode 27 of the Unreasonably Angry podcast. We hope it was auto-downloaded. You didn't have to press a button or anything. You just had to hit play and everything was done for you and you just heard our voices all right away. Your Bluetooth automatically connected to your car speakers.
And if you're running out of time to give yourself an orgasm, just put your phone in your pants and have us call you.
What the fuck?
I don't know. Vibrate. It works.
Why does this always happen? You come up with the weirdest things at the end. Please rate and review us on iTunes or Facebook. We want to know what you think, and we want other people to see what you think.
Yeah. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, or if you're generally worried about my mental health, please send us an email at unreasonablyangrypodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to hit us up on Twitter and Facebook as well. And until next time, my name is Eric.
And I'm Gary.
Stay angry, fuckers.